In a few minutes here, you're going to see some footage that's, well, borderline not safe for work. It's from the raid when I decided to leave the PvE lobbies behind after effectively 18 hours straight of zero tension and not being shot even once. And no, I didn't enjoy the way I left it behind. You'll notice it on my face. Deadpan, no smiles, no celebration. For context, I had just come back from vacation. We literally flew out an hour after the expedition wipe started, so I used these lobbies to catch back up. In those 18 hours of passivity, I completed all of my workshops, trials, and most of the second expedition, almost entirely without any PvP pressure. 18 hours, not a single shot fired at me. Well, until this guy broke the streak. Hey, what's up? This guy had me absolutely dead to rights, but tried to abuse trigger nades after a strong open, and completely biffed it. Alright, thank you. You helped me test something. You really fumbled that. You really fumbled that, brother. What I meant by that was I actually wanted to test what retaliating does to you, because I hadn't gotten the chance to retaliate, because I went 18 hours without anyone shooting. I have a blue shield on. Blue shield? Okay. Yeah. Thanks for answering. No problem. Alright. Well, good luck. See you later, buddy. Bye. This was perfect, though, for testing purposes. So I appreciate his sacrifice. He even had trigger nades, guys. He brought trigger nades in the solo lobby and still lost. And sure enough, it actually did send me right back to the PvP lobbies, which was no big deal. Because what's kind of surprised me most is just how easy it is to access the PvE lobbies again. You basically just have to avoid shooting or killing anyone for somewhere between 5 and 10 games in a row. Yo, I'm friendly! I'm fucking friendly! Bro, why are you so aggro? Aren't these friendly lobbies? No, you're friendly. How'd you do this? We might be in aggro lobbies, guys. So after that game where I defended myself, I bounced around a handful of lobbies, some hostile, some friendly. PvP lobbies right now are actually a pretty healthy mix of playstyles. Holy shit!
Yo, friendly.
Alright. Have your lobbies been mostly friendly or a mix of like people shooting at you and shit?
Solos? I've only ran into like one dude who killed me while I was down, so.
In these lobbies, you get outliers on both sides. 90% pacifist servers or 90% kill on site chaos. But most lobbies kind of land somewhere in between. Bro, I'm friendly! Fuck! Protect me, Roof Guardian. There's PvPers afoot. There he is again! What's wrong with you? Can I interview you? I actually have a question. Please talk to me. You can fucking do whatever you want to my butthole. I just have to ask you a question. Bro! Get a fucking microphone! I'm gonna fucking kill him. He's pissing me off. You're so bad. That's what you fucking get, you deaf mute motherfucker! So after going through a few lobbies like that, but without retaliating, I gained access to a few more hours in PvE land, but eventually decided it was time to break out and to rejoin the version of the game that I had the most fun in during my first 350 to 400 hours. The version with the constant threat of PvP, backstabbing, rats, and even friendships forged in blood and firefights.
You head into the matriarch?
Yeah. So as you can see here, I went topside with my Volcano 4. Plenty of ammo. Wait, what'd you say?
I'm heading to the matriarch as well.
Oh, gotcha. And the hope that the bloodshed I was about to unleash on these raiders would be put to a stop by somebody. I want to be clear here. I'm mostly okay with PvE lobbies existing. I think it makes the game more enjoyable for a segment of players that honestly just wouldn't play or stick with this game otherwise. But as you're about to see, there are some serious flaws in how this system currently works. And I do have a few ideas that could help fix them, but I've already seen the Reddit threads and comments on some of my other videos on this topic of potential abuse already popping up. So while I did end up shooting 2 people in the back during this melee, not a single shot got returned to my way, which was really surprising. Find Jesus? I found him.
No, you did fine.
I have to say, rewatching this through the editing process over and over was painful.
We just got ratted.
There's no ratting, I just walked up. Alright guys, not proud of what I did here, but I proved a point, I think. Did I prove a point? I don't even know. It's literally like shooting fish in a barrel. I'm not gonna kill that guy. What's up? I just murdered 8 people, not proud of it. Yeah, pretty brutal. But hey guys, some gaming journalist says Arc Raiders has fixed griefing with this aggression profiling. So after having to look at all those legendary weapons sitting in my stash that I had acquired from the Red Wedding Lake Massacre only a few days after starting my wipe, I decided to get flagged for PvE lobbies again so I could give back the gear to some players that seemed lacking in firepower during their battle with the Queen Mother. Hey, Hull Cracker guy, you need a legendary gun?
Yeah. What's up?
I'm giving away some legendary guns. Do you need one?
Oh, it's noisy over here. I think we can hear
Yeah, it's loud. I'm giving away some legendary guns. Would you like one? Yeah, I'm trying to give away legendary guns. Do you need one, dude? You got a Hull Cracker? Yeah. Would you like this? Dude, oh my god. Why is it so hard to give away something? Come back here. Do you want that? Yeah.
Hold on a second.
There you go. It's never been so hard to give stuff away. Jesus.
Oh my god.
It uses energy clips, so it only has like 50 shots in it. These guys might have some for you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Would you like a Jupiter or an Aphelion? You choose.
I've never had a Jupiter before. I've got an Aphelion.
All right.
A Jupiter, over here.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anyone else in here have a mic? Yeah, you. Okay. Do you want this Aphelion?
What?
Do you want an Aphelion? Legendary? All right. Here you go.
Yeah, sure.
Take it. Hurry. They're punching in the keys. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. Bye. I mentioned earlier I do have a few ideas on how to tweak this system. One of which is it may be best to have a hard cutoff on what players are allowed to access these lobbies based off their long-term stats. Like something like players downed per hour topside. I personally average 3.5 players down per hour on my main account. And that's with a big mix of actually being friendly and helping or just vibing with people from time to time as mindless PvP tends to get stale in solos. Maybe anyone with over 5 players down per hour shouldn't be allowed to access these lobbies. It's just a number I'm throwing out there. A second idea is it would actually be kind of neat to be able to flag your account as a hardcore account, which would restrict access to these lobbies, meaning you're just always in a lobby that has a true PvP threat. And I wouldn't expect any like extra rewards or anything for being flagged as PvP. Just maybe change the expedition icon to be red that sits above your character's head in the lobby, something like that. This flag could be set every time you do an expedition, something like that. Or you can maybe make it more fluid. I don't know. Again, just another idea. And the third thing is 5 to 10 games seems like way too few to reset your Raider's aggression status. But before they make any changes to that, they're probably going to have to work in some kind of logic where if you retaliate against a player shooting at you, it doesn't flag you immediately as an aggressive player because all you did is defend yourself. Also, that makes people play in a silly way. Now that everyone knows that these lobbies exist, they're just gonna have to eat the death because they don't want to get moved to those lobbies, and that just doesn't seem like a feasible way to do things in the long term, to me at least. So I know some of you are going to comment that these lobbies shouldn't exist to begin with. You're a big proponent of everything being random and an extraction shooter like it is in Tarkov, but I think it's really important for these extraction shooters coming out to not come anywhere close to trying to mimic what Tarkov does. Tarkov is great at what it's great at, which is mostly cock and ball torture. No, it's a really tough game. It's meant to be extremely hardcore, and randomness plays into that game's strengths, I'm sure. But for games like this, you got to think of it, if you keep these straight up PvE players mixed into lobbies where there's real threats of PvP, they're probably likely to quit eventually, sooner than later. The devs did decide to change the direction of the game after realizing during playtesting that PvE only was not gonna result in a game with any legs to it. You know, we've seen Helldivers 2, it's done incredibly well, and it still has a very healthy player base, but you know, you got to kind of trust the devs thinking on that, I suppose. But that does make it interesting that they implemented these lobbies anyways, because it kind of goes against that line of thinking. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, these players that enjoy the PvE only side of things, they may get bored, they may end up quitting, but they would almost assuredly quit if, you know, they were forced into way too many PvP encounters. So let them have their fun. It's not hurting anybody, right? I do have a theory as to one of the reasons they decided to turn this aggression-based matchmaking on roughly around the second week of December is, as you can see from some data here, player counts were starting to drop by 30 to 40,000 every week from when the peak concurrent player count hit on November 16th. I'm not one of those ignorant people that dooms and glooms a game's status as dying or whatever just because player counts start to drop, especially when it's a live service game like that. It's completely natural. A segment of players burns through the content and they come back when new content comes out. But it's very reasonable to, you know, think that some of these drops in player counts were due to players that were not enjoying the PvP aspect, and it was just maybe too much for them. But everyone likes to say their games has great player retainment numbers without factoring in the game went on sale December 18th for 20% off, which I have to imagine was a big reason we saw another big uptick where it staved off those player count drops. Again, this game is extremely healthy. I'm not worried about it at all. It's a great game no matter, I think, what type of player you are. But, you know, it is something to think about, and it's probably safe to say they didn't turn this kind of thing on for no reason, right? So yeah, in closing, I have to say that once I became aware these lobbies existed, it had this weird psychological impact on how I was playing the game. One thing, like trials every week, extremely painful to do when there's that threat of an extract camper that'll ruin your score way too easily, especially considering you have to do most trials on night maps or during storms. Right now there's a winter event where you can do a lot of them on that and have extra exits and safe hatches, but that's normally not the case. So the game definitely is set up in some cases to favor ratting and extract camping and things of that nature, which again, normally I don't care if I'm just PvPing or doing loot runs, but when you're doing PvE trials that tend to be incredibly boring and grindy, it's painful to lose out on a big score that way, especially when you're doing it solo. So that being said, it's like now I feel compelled to get myself into low aggression lobbies before I do things like trials. And it's come to the point where I ended up buying a second account while the game was on sale. So it's just, I only PvP on that account. Currently I'm averaging 6 to 7 kills per hour topside. So, but that's really silly to expect a player to do that to get the most out of the game. So yeah, as always, I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video and found it informative, please like and subscribe. Farewell. Thank you so much. Farewell. See you, Topside Raiders.